Good morning, everyone. In the news now, I bring you a mindset that you need to get used to very quickly, and that is that all opposition parties currently are blaming the government for slow vaccine rollout, and that they are going to want every single person in this country vaccinated as fast as possible. And there's two articles I want to briefly focus on, and I don't want to take up much of your time. So, in the first one, it says opposition parties slate Ramaphosa for move to level 4 restrictions. And I want you to hear what their leaders or spokespersons have to say. This is very important. And then the next article, and they're both from News 24, it says Delta variant government was not wrong. Some of the scientists were wrong, an expert says. And it's very interesting how this article is used to try and take the blame off of government and make scientists the full people. And once again, the drive is for everyone worldwide to get vaccinated. So what they are saying is that with this new Delta variant, vaccination is very effective. People don't really get sick at this stage, but vaccination stops the spread of the Delta variant, according to them. So this is the main message that's being driven out there right now, and you can be assured that you will hear a lot of this in future, and that this will become the main drive from the political parties that you have voted for in the past. So let me quickly go through this. And this is why we need to completely remove our government and come up with a new governance system and make sure that you become the government. This is a project and a half. Make no mistake. We need to make sure that each and every person changes the way they think and the way they live. But let me get into the three sub-headlines for the first article where the opposition parties slate government. And I want you to see who is saying what. And just remember this. Opposition parties have slated President Cyril Ramaphosa and his administration for the new lockdown restrictions he announced. So what they are all trying to say is that if the vaccination program was proper and all of us were vaccinated, then none of this would have happened. There would be no lockdown. Now, I can tell you that, firstly, they want everyone vaccinated. Even if they have everyone vaccinated, a new variant will come up, and the other article will make that clear. So, either way, you will be controlled in some way, shape, or form. And John Steenhuisen from the DA here speaks about monitoring, tracking, and tracing. Because this is what they want. They are New World Order heavy, as I've said before. The restrictions in place for 14 days include an alcohol ban and a ban on sit-down dining at restaurants. However, the parties say the government must be held accountable for the slow vaccine rollout. Let's continue. Opposition parties have criticized the government's decision to impose an adjusted level 4 lockdown, which President Cyril Ramaphosa announced on Sunday night. Now remember, this is election season, and I said that even parties that have stood behind Cyril Ramaphosa in the past are now going to start electioneering, and it's really pathetic to see. It's like they can't apply their own minds, but punish them at the polls. Under the new restrictions, leisure travel to and from Gauteng is prohibited, curfew hours have been extended, a 14-day alcohol sales ban has been implemented, and the restaurants will only be allowed to sell takeaway meals and delivery orders. Now let's get to the official opposition. John Steenhuisen first. The DA's John Steenhuisen described the restrictions as draconian. Believe me, people, if he could get his way, draconian will look mild. Saying South Africans are being forced to pay the price for the government's catastrophic vaccine failures. He wants all of you to be vaccinated. The DA has called for a comprehensive parliamentary inquiry into the government's handling of the vaccine program. There must be accountability for this failure, he said. He added that after 15 months of various lockdown levels, they don't know how to write, these journalists. South Africans should at least have access to life-saving medical treatment. Ramaphosa and his government have had a year to secure an adequate supply of vaccines to protect South African lives and livelihoods from this virus. A year to plan a speedy, efficient rollout program, he said. But in the other article, they speak about the Delta variant and how the Beta and the Alpha variants are resistant to vaccines. So, really, they can say whatever they want and the people will just gullibly believe it and follow like sheeple. And this is a problem. He and his government have failed. This is Steenhuisen still been quoted. He and his government have failed to build healthcare capacity to be able to accommodate all in need and failed to build track and trace capacity to isolate the virus and break chains of transmission. There you have it. The opposition leader, John Steenhuisen, talking about building track and trace capacities. We've spoken about this at length in the meetings and many of my videos, so this should not come as a surprise to you. Steenhuisen said the blunt instrument of blanket restrictions only served to give the illusion of action. Now, this is 100% correct. Only people who have never started and run a restaurant and who don't rely on its success would force a restaurant to close with no notice to cover for their failures. He did exactly that. He supported Cyril Ramaphosa with the initial lockdown. Has he forgotten? Short memory. What about all the food sitting in the fridges waiting to be sold? Yes, John Steenhuisen, you did the same. The government may not plan ahead, but business owners do, he said. You were part of the government that said that we should lock down for level 5 and level 4 and the extension of level 5. So don't come with your excuses now. This is pathetic. The tourism industry continues to be shut down at a moment's notice, with the exception that they should continue serving their debts and complying with draconian labor legislation with no support from government at all. All those who rely for the income on the alcohol industry are also once again being made to pay for government's failure. This is all political speak, and it's really pathetic considering he stood behind Ramaphosa when he did exactly the same to the country initially. Steenhuisen warned that unless the government was held accountable for the vaccine failures, the South Africans will face a fourth wave of infections in a few months. So Steenhuisen is already telling you that a fourth wave is on its way. He's got his crystal ball out, and I want you to understand that the DA is no different to the ANC. But now, EFF next, third in line. In a statement on Sunday night, the EFF said lockdowns and restrictions did not contain the virus. They are now health experts. We have health experts all over this country, just like Bill Gates. Vaccines are what will save people's lives and return the economy to some sense of normality. Some sense of normality, they say. So vaccines are the main drive. The EFF rejects Ramaphosa's lockdown that seeks to imprison us while he continues to mismanage state resources. We will only support measures based on the rapid rollout of vaccines. So I made this video where I said that Julius wants everyone to be jabbed in the arm. The party will not comply with the dictates of Ramaphosa and will continue with our political programs and mobilization. So they're saying they're not going to stop their meetings. Ahead of the October elections, the statement said, refusing us as a political party the necessary space and constitutional right to stand for elections and persuade people to vote for the EFF is illegal and will never be accepted. He's absolutely right about that. No politician, worse, a president of a political party must be allowed to ban and stop political gatherings of other political parties. It is unconstitutional to ban political gatherings, the EFF said. 100% correct. According to the Red Berets, the president is using lockdowns and restrictions to manage the inevitable but coming removal of the ANC from power in all municipalities. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how things pan out in the local government elections. So, yes, that's probably a very, very relevant statement. And the African National Congress relies on their local councils because that is where their power lies. They built that organization from the ground up. It's not a top-down approach. They'll be in big trouble if they do badly in the local government elections. It'll be over for them. The Freedom Front Plus, said the government was responsible for the third wave and that the healthcare system was not ready to deal with the surge of COVID-19 cases more than a year after the first case was reported. It's so sickeningly to see political parties speaking like typical politicians. This is pathetic. Politicking is really pathetic. These people don't know how to get you freedom. They don't know what freedom looks like. They want to control what you do. And they're a bunch of gangs. That's all they are. The government must especially take responsibility. This is the Freedom Front Plus, for the fact that very few South Africans have to date been vaccinated so far, and for the slim hope that herd immunity will be achieved soon. So they are also driving the vaccination program. The target of a vaccination rate of 70% by the end of the current year is now completely out of reach, with less than 4% of the population vaccinated, said Freedom Front Plus leader Pieter Groenewald. So Pieter Groenewald wants you vaccinated. Well, the reason why there's 4% of the people vaccinated is because most people don't want to be vaccinated. I've covered that before, that the people in South Africa have changed their mind from 20% not being vaccinated to 80% not wanting to be vaccinated. And now the fearmongering will start in all earnesty. Vaccine rollout. He added that South Africans and businesses such as restaurants were suffering because of the government's incompetence, and adding that blaming travel ban to and from Gauteng was a step in the right direction, although it was too late. So he agrees that there should be a travel ban to and from Gauteng. Then, Good Party. Secretary General Brett Herron echoed calls for a strengthened vaccine rollout. Now, I've spoken to Brett on many occasions, and he is fully in bed with the New World Order ideologies. And as he was in the DA before, they all still get their funding from the same places and will drive exactly the same agendas. He says the lockdown was unavoidable as the third wave resurgence appears to be larger and more impactful on healthcare services than the first and second waves. The failures of South Africans to contain the spread of the virus is disappointing, Herron said. So he's disappointed in South Africans and how we are behaving. He said the impact of this new hard lockdown will be devastating to our economic recovery and several business sectors. The inequitable and shortage of supply vaccines is a failure of global leadership and must be addressed urgently by a patent waiver, Herron added. He's speaking about global leadership. Do you see where this is going already? And this is the Good Party. Don't think that any of these people are your friend when it comes to freedom. They will lock you down, chuck away the key when you're stuck inside your smart city where everything is on top of each other and you monitor, track and trace to the nth of degree, and you have no more freedom left. And they will do it as long as the world powers just drop vaccines everywhere and drop viruses and make those vaccines ineffective. This is not rocket science, it's very straightforward. And he continues on here, our vaccine program has been haphazard and undermined by unforeseen setbacks with both the AstraZeneca vaccine and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine we had relied on as part of our vaccine program. Vaccine should be easily, readily, and abundantly available. So, Good Party wants you to be vaccinated. The Freedom Front Plus wants you to be vaccinated. The EFF wants you to be vaccinated. And the DA wants you to be vaccinated. This is their solution. And I hope you face that and show how you feel about that in the polls. It's your democratic right to do that. Although we don't live in a democracy, we need to change our constitution, our electoral system, and change our governance system completely. In the other article, just quickly, it is all fear-mongering. And I will put the link for both articles in the description below this video so that you can go and read them, where Dr. Richard Lessel said that it's not the government's fault that the Delta variant took over. Now, it says very clearly in this article that the Delta variant, it says disease severity, no clear evidence yet that it causes severe disease, transmissibility, highly transmissible, more than all other variants, including beta. So when do they start with theta variants and all sorts of others? What do they do when it just doesn't stop and vaccines can't keep up? Because they said with the Delta variant, the vaccine's very effective. It's like that there's a variant now all of a sudden where if you get vaccinated, it won't do anything to you. But it doesn't make you sick in any case. So people, this is just fascinating because the normal common cold as well as the flu spreads like wildfire all over the world every single year, and no one goes to shut down economies or anything like that. The people that are sick normally stay at home, and people that are healthy can carry on with their lives. This is how we have done things now for decades, and now all of a sudden something has changed, and you need to understand what that means. In my breakdown on Cyril Ramaphosa's speech to members, I will go into a lot of detail of what's actually happening behind the scenes. So you can look forward to that, the members on this channel. If you want to become a member, you can click the join button underneath this video, and you will get access to those unique Double Days membership videos, as well as looking forward to the live chats every Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. Thank you very much. Till the next video.